And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of the O-Face podcast, brought to you by none other than the SWBL Orioles
Orioles.
team.
Right.
We're going through a series here, interviewing every player, and ending up with the season finale, having the whole flock there to talk about wiffle ball in general, last year, this year, other years, and many future years to come. So for episode one, I'll be your host throughout this journey, Peter Leicht, utility player for the SWBL Orioles. Episode one, we welcome Sam Skibbe, the commissioner of the league, and one of the Orioles' most valuable players last year and in the future. Sam, how you doing?
Peter, it is an honor to be here for episode one of the O-Face podcast. It is something that our team kind of touched on a little bit last year. We kind of wanted to try it, and this year we're actually pulling the trigger, hoping that this puts us in the market for the Franchise of the Year award. No other team does this, Peter, so the fact that we're taking the initiative, adding some content, and we thank you for hosting it for us. No better person to host the O-Face podcast, obviously, has to be you.
Thank you, Sam. Franchise of the Year, that is something I know well, and it's something that I feel like I have lost touch with. So I'm ready to get back to it. And, we might as well get into it. For the fans, for the viewers, the listeners, we've got a nice slide deck to go through.
It wouldn't be a Peter Leicht podcast without a slide deck.
Nope. And, a lot of Excel analysis goes into this. But, we're going to go something that the viewers can look at. This is episode one, and let me set the stage for what's to come here in the future. We've got Sam on episode one, Brett episode two, PG, and then we'll round it out with the general manager, captain, front office of the Orioles, John Leicht. And then we're going to bring the whole gang back together. Episode five should be coming in right in time for opening day for game one. And so with Sam here, we're gonna dive in off the top. Really, our first category is it's O-Face. I mean,
O-Face.
Sometimes people make references to the Office Space, and they talk about the O-Face. And for me, it's just something that when there's an experience or a moment, particularly on the wiffle ball field, a lot of excitement, a lot of passion, a lot of happiness. It's that expression that comes with that. And I mean, last year we walked in game one, and we definitely witnessed some pleasure, if you will. Some extreme I mean, Brett pitching a shutout, and I think everybody just was like, it was like Oprah, like, you get a home run, you get a home run, you get a home run. I felt good going in the game. Thought we could win. I would not imagine the 20-0 shutout. But Sam, let's talk to you. What were your thoughts on your experience in that first game last year?
I think it's a great segment. Obviously, the O-Face coming into play here, and the Office Space reference. The 20-0 shutout. Oh my God, Peter. Oh my God, indeed. It was a shocker. I think it was a shocker on both ends. Let's be real. It was a shocker on the Orioles end because as a first-year team, did we think we were going to come out against a perennial playoff team, the Rockies, one of Brett's rivalries with his brother? Did we think we were going to come out and put up a goose egg with Blake Spencer? No, obviously not, Peter. Obviously not. And then on the Rockies side, I mean, hey, they had a rough year. First year not making the playoffs, missing their heart in Grant Boyd, Kyle Breida in retirement. Rookies had to get their feet wet. They have pretty much 4 hitters the entire weekend long. No way to change out. They just had to kind of keep it going. And unfortunately, they were on the brunt end of PG's return, and the three of us, Peter, myself, and Brett, kind of gelling together at the right time. So yeah, 20-0. What a way to start off opening day. And I think a lot of people thought our offense was firing on all cylinders, but opening day was definitely an O-Face moment.
Oh yeah, I agree. Kind of set the tone. We went into the next morning, played the Yankees bright and early, snuck out a victory there. But it was that's what we needed. And I think, season
We did.
21, hopefully we have the opportunity to do the same.
And the kind of that feeling, and I feel like every wiffle ball player in the SWBL feels this. But when in your first game, you want to get that first home run, right? You want to get that monkey off your back. You want to have the wherewithal and the guts, the gusto to show that O face and hit that first home run, so you kind of can relax the rest of the time. That's what usually happens after an O face. There's a lot of relaxation period.
Yep, I think for me, I go in nervous. I'm kind of like how long? Like how long can I do this? How long am I gonna last? Like, can I even perform? And then you send the first one over the fence, and I mean, you're like, oh yeah, and you feel like you're on cloud nine.
Yes.
So hell yeah, baby, let's keep rolling because we got number two.
Number two.
And this is coming from St. Louis's own, John Burroughs' own. We got, and this is exactly the same face that I made when I was in left field. When this became official, when I saw Sam throw a perfect game against the Expos, struck out Kevin to end the game, had to battle through a tough at bat with Jack Leicht, where the crowd was just like, that was like the Battlehawks were in town and the dome was rocking.
Yeah, everyone was against me.
Everyone's like, Sam, we hate you now. We love you, but for this next 2 minutes, we hate you because Jack is a kid and come on. But nope, no mercy. We weren't going to make any mistakes, and this was one of the perfect games. There's been a handful over the years. And Sam, you were the cause of it. You were on the bump. Tell us what was going through your mind throughout that game.
I'll start by saying that Ontario is actually a territory, a province of Canada, and which is where the Expos originated in Montreal. So Ontario origination, yes, a lot of O's there. But the Expos game was a surprise. It was, the Expos are a tough team because they always seem to get that one hit somewhere along the way that kind of catapults their offense and begins them to score runs. And whether it's Jimmy or Germer, who has always seemed to do that against me in the past, for some reason this time it worked. And you're right, that moment where it was myself and you guys were semi cheering for me, and also you were also semi cheering for your nephew too, to maybe break it up at that point. But it was a moment where I was like, you know what, Kevin and Jack back to back here, they're kind of giving me an opportunity. I got to go for it, and I did. I struck that opportunity right out and became the first player in SWBL history to throw a 5-inning perfect game. So all the other perfect games have been in 3 or 4 innings, and this was the first one with a full 5 innings. So it shows that our offense was also down because we were facing off against Jimmy, but it took us that long, and I don't think it was 10, 11 nothing. By the time we could never mercy rule. So it was a fun game, and it was kind of a cool thing to kind of put my hat in the ring for Cy Wiffle. Obviously that changed when we played the Twins and I let up 18 runs, but it kept my hat in the ring for a little bit.
Yeah, no, that was intense. I mean, being in the left field when
yeah, how does that feel as a fielder? Like, is there just as much pressure on you guys, like having to stay ready and keep that going?
I'd say the pressure goes up because you don't want to make a mistake, and if you have to, I would say I would make an error that is so blatant that at least you could preserve that no hitter. And Jack's up, I think, in the beginning of the last inning, and crowd's into it, and in my head I'm saying, no, I'm not, there's no mercy for Jack. Like, I don't want to end up on his TikTok, and I don't want to have this be brought up at Thanksgiving. And if I had one regret from last year, it would be that he fouled one off. It was going down the line. I ran over full power. I kicked it. I said I had to kick it out of bounds before it rolled fair. I kicked it right into some young 2 or 3 year old girl's chest. It was kind of a soft kick. It was. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's sorry. She took it like a champ.
Yeah.
I start getting booed by people that had usually cheered me on.
Not a good game for the Orioles.
that really got in my head. I'm just glad Jack didn't hit me after that, because I don't know if I would have made a play. Just kind of went a little over the line. Yeah. There. So, but yeah, you're going to be in the record books there with John Hamm.
John Hamm.
And, you know, another opportunity to do it again this year, I would say.
Indeed. We see them. It's actually going to be for the viewers. We're going to be on game 2. So game number 2. We have game 1 and game 2 are both going to be pre SWBL weekend games, and the Orioles Expos will have the game 2 matchup. Expos have never lost pre SWBL weekend, Peter. So there's a little bit of pressure on us there. They're pressureless. You know, they got nothing to lose going 1-9 last year. Their only win was on game 1 against the Astros last year. So you know they want to do the same thing to us.
You know, despite the fact that it's in your parents' backyard, it kind of feels like an away game when it's game 1 against the Expos.
It does.
Well, let's go into our next one. Sticking with Sam and your exceptional performance here, but viewers are not they might not understand us off the bat, but you know, pitch comes in too hot, you get a redo. You kind of made magic and turned nothing into a double. And you know, for the viewers out there, let's go straight to the film and let's let everybody just dissect this, and we'll do it together. Maybe. Yeah, we will.
Sam trying to go to the right field.
Okay. That was 56. That's too fast.
Fast. 1 mile per hour. Sam.
58.
Very fast. Oh, God. Wow. What a heads up play.
Heads up play.
Heads up play.
What's going through your mind right now, Sam?
You know, there was a lot of confusion, obviously, and I, you know, knew the rule. And when he's, you know, if he catches that ball, then nothing, I go back and we redo it. But correct me if I'm wrong, this is playoffs, right?
This is playoffs.
So, I mean, this was the semifinals, and I'm thinking in my head, I am not, for some reason, I am not as hot in the playoffs on the offensive side that I am in the regular season. I don't know if that gets to me. Maybe that's a reason why I haven't won a championship, you know, in the past 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is. But offensively, I knew, hey, if they're giving me a free base, I'm going for it. And, you know, most players probably would have just turned around and went back and, you know, they said it was too hot. And I understand the Marlins sentiment. You know, they were saying that everybody else was confusing them, calling out heat check, calling out hot. But at the same time, you still got to finish the play, and that's how the rule's written. And I know people say, well, I wrote the rules. I know, but like everybody can read them too, and everybody should know. And I don't think you're going to see that mistake again, though. I think everybody had eyes on that game, and everybody had eyes on that moment. And it was kind of a big deal. I think people realized, oh, I got to finish the play out. I can't like be mad that it was too hot. And obviously we were beating the Marlins a little bit already that game. But after that moment, you know, the very next play, Brett hit a ground ball to Luke, and I kind of ran halfway in between them. And I think Trent got flustered, and he made an error. I scored on the play. So it was back-to-back Trent, you know, mishaps there. And we got in their heads and we won the game. So I think it kind of catapulted us into a win. And but again, I don't think it's going to happen again to any other team, because they definitely have their eyes ogled on that for sure.
Yep. I mean, it was a heads up play as described by the announcers, and that happened a lot, you know, little plays here and there that you know well. And I think that folks that are studying the film, as they all should, you know, shouldn't happen again, you know, play every play till it's over.
Yeah, poor Marlins. We also picked off Luke Bacula and he was off the base. So you know, I don't think there's going to be a lot of that, although people still walk off the base and, you know, you get a free pass at them. So
you had some young franchises that, you know, and a lot of changing rules that, you know, they're keeping up with. But I think that next year 2 of this new speed gun rule, it'll be a different story, and we'll just, you know, we'll beat the Marlins the same way we did last year, right? Except for that one game, but then
except for the game they beat us,
whatever. Okay, and let's go to our last one here. We're going to go to this guy that you see on like Twitter and Instagram. He's like so proud. He's like, he doesn't even have an O face because all his friends have
the O faces.
The O face.
It's a group O. It's a group O.
And this is a proud accomplishment. I mean, going into the year, like if winning the number 1 seed against the Yankees, Twins, most notably, like it was pretty secure, but then it was kind of in doubt, and then it became secured, and felt really good going into the playoffs, gave us some choice of times, and obviously playing a wild card team is great. So what were your thoughts going into the year and then seeing that outcome there, Samuel?
You said it best, Peter. We thought, going into Sunday, we probably thought we had it locked up. And obviously the Twins was an important game, and the Twins actually went 0-2 to start their season. And
That's right.
then they didn't lose again until their last game. So they won a 7-game winning streak, went 7-2, and then they lost to the Marlins their last game. And that was the only chance that we had to make the number 1 seed, is if they lost to the Marlins. And, Marlins got hot, man, and they had a great season. And, we thank them for giving the number 1 overall seed. And it's funny because the Marlins kind of got to choose. I mean, they could have thrown that game. They had the playoffs locked up. They did not need to win that game, but I also think they were trying to make a statement as a franchise to not go 500. They wanted to go 6-4, and they went for the game. And obviously, Chris Metter, Spencer Bogad, their strategy is always get in and see what happens. And I think things may have been different for the Twins if they would have won that game and had the number 1 seed. I think it could have been, obviously Yankees, Orioles matched up. We could have matched up with them in the semifinals, and then the Twins have the number 1 seed and they're beating the Marlins and they're back in the playoffs or in the championship. So it's interesting how things happen for a reason, and it got us there and got us to where we needed to be.
Agreed. And it's those 3 teams that you mentioned, Yankees, O's, Twins, they're spread apart in divisions. I would say that it's expected that they'll win the division, and we'll have a decent chance at doing the same, but can't take the Twins or Yankees lightly. I'd probably take the other teams lightly. I just think there's a different. I think there's a line there, but we'll see what we can do this year.
See,
so those are the
goals number 1 again.
That is right. So O faces, it's always a good time, and you probably listeners, viewers, you'll see some O faces through this next section where we're going to go into our O categories. Words to start with O are great, and I'm going to ask Sam, a few questions here to see what his thoughts are. So Sam, category 1, orange you glad. Orange you glad I didn't say banana is what everyone. Oh my gosh. So orange you glad, I would like you to describe something that you're glad that happened, early on in the wiffle ball SWBL era that you think kind of paved the way for where we are now. What happened in your wiffle ball era that has set the stage for you?
Oh my. I mean, there can be a lot of things. You think back, like every time people talk about this league, they say, did you ever think it would happen for 20 years? Did you ever think it would keep going like this? And obviously none of us thought it would be. If you asked your brother Andrew, Brett, and Kevin, if when we started this back in 2003, if this would still be going on, we probably thought being so young, we thought there's no way. So you could probably talk about a few things, but I really can't pinpoint what that one thing was early on. But I know one thing that comes to my mind that I'm really glad that happened was 2 of our teammates, PG and Brett, joined myself and Andy Oldenburg as the first members of a traveling team for the SWBL. And we went to the NWLA tournament, the inaugural year of the NWA tournament in 2012. We also went to the London Wiffle Ball tournament that year too. And, we got second to last place in the first ever big national tournament for the NWLA side. But it was an experience that we never forget, and we've never missed a year. We're one of very few leagues that have gone every single year. And I think it helped us not only learn new rules that helped catapult us to where we are now, to kind of give us the competitive evenness across our league. Pitcher's poison is one of those things, right? We never probably would have even learned about pitcher's poison unless we went to the NWLA tournament and learned that there. And I really think that helped even things out, not so much a hitter's league, helped the pitching side of things. It helped us start these little travel tournaments that we've met some great people along the way. You just saw the signing of Trent Steffes back to the White Sox, meeting a good friend like Trent to come in, and all the Astros players that came and went. players that we've seen from all walks of life that want to come to the SWBL. And I think it's something really cool that we can say like we met all these people along the way, and wiffle ball is kind of the cause of that. But you know, I'm orange. I'm glad. Orange, you glad? I am glad that Oldenburg, PG, and Brett and I went to that NWA tournament in 2012.
Sam, if I was an English teacher, I would give you an A+ on that. That's deep, and I think about our league without pitcher's poison in the early years, and it's those games you watch them on
Oh my
YouTube.
gosh.
It's kind of, it's a lot of rinky-dink singles.
Yeah.
It's the best. That's the best rule that we ever implemented, I
I
think.
think so too.
And
Maybe
yeah,
besides the strike zone, year 2 or 3. I think it was year 3 we added the strike zone finally.
well, that's that is something. And I think that year 1 of that tournament, we've seen a lot of teams, a lot of great teams over the years.
A lot of success, yeah.
That's great. Well, let's go to number 2. This one's a little sexier. OnlyFans. So, which active SWBL player do you think is most likely to have an OnlyFans side hustle from the content creation point of view, not the user point of view? And if you want to elaborate on who you think that is and what you think they're doing.
So you're saying someone who would make content for other people to view and enjoy?
Yeah.
My. You know, for some reason, when you ask that question, expos pop into my mind. Like a Jimmy Nelson type. Maybe it's something with frisbees or dissecting mice. Something really really niche for the market. You obviously could go the opposite way. Chris Metter could get his workout on, his CrossFit workouts for everybody. Maybe some people just need to see him sweat. Who knows? Got a lot of good looking men in our league as well. Maybe it's the Marlins start their OnlyFans, being our youngest team, and also, their wives and girlfriends are very active. So maybe they all have some type of group activity. That could be something. And maybe proceeds could help go towards the SWBL. It could be like a 50-50 split. But yeah, there's probably a lot of opportunities out there for these guys to kind of get into the market. Anybody else you have in mind?
Well, you mentioned one, and Chris Metter jumps out to me, and for me, it's not the athleticism, the workout, but it's the hands. So you got Chris Metter, he's reaching into an oven to pull out some fresh cookies, or he's cutting the grass. I mean, he's doing anything with his hands, and you get a still of that, and he's looking back at the camera, and he's like, these platinum hands that he has. And I think he would get top dollar. And I think there have been a lot of NWA guys that have been, interested in those kind of pictures.
Oh.
It's really just everyday essentials, everyday activities. Versus hands here and there. There's a market. There's definitely a market there.
What an interesting prospect. What an interesting question to see what other people say.
One regret. Let's talk about, one regret that you have from last year. I know we've spoken, you've spoken publicly that, pitching the whole game against the Yankees in the championship.
Oh yeah, that would be it.
Might be a regret. So I'm going to cut that out because we want to get deeper. We want to get inside the commissioner's head. What else? Are there any other regrets that you might have from last year or recent wiffle ball?
I mean, from a playing perspective, probably not. I don't really regret, joining the Orioles, obviously, and I don't regret any of our decisions that we have made along the way. The only one was that last and final inning of the championship game, when we could have held them. We had 7 runs to protect, and, why not bring in Brett and show something different, especially after they've scored so many runs? But you say I can't say that one, even though that would obviously be my one regret from last season from a playing perspective. As a commissioner, I don't really have a lot of regrets from season 20. I think it went very well. I think from the moment opening day began with Altros, Dave Davis, and all the welcome bags, to all the different new things around the complex. We had the Breckenridge Brewery donated the beers for the press conference, and we had the the schedule graphic that was up for everybody to see. I think it really went well. If I had one regret, and this is going to be really boring and probably not what you're looking for on the O-Face podcast, but I wish that I would have had a little more content, and the reason being, now I'm looking for a lot of different things. Like the White Sox didn't get their what do you call them? The pictures I took, the media days. They didn't get their media day, so there's no White Sox with any media out there. I'm hoping to do that this coming season. Get more pictures. You know, Kevin Poley does such a great job with those videos and that content that he created for our score graphics, that we didn't get a lot of pictures because we were so focused on that. So yeah, I think that was my one. And then another one regret that I have from that side is that the Jimmy Stout audio that you were in charge of didn't come to fruition for game 1 for the mic'd up session. It was probably some pure gold that we missed out on.
So you say that in a way that I am the owner of the mistake. Is that what you're saying?
I think no one person, you know, it was all of ours, but it was working before we began, and then all of a sudden it cut out. So don't know what happened there, but I wish we could have salvaged that, because I'm sure there was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that is odd to say the least. Let's talk about the offenses going into this next season. So I want you to take us through teams 1 through 9. You know, how do you rank the offenses going into next season?
Ooh, I mean, I guess you can't deny what you saw in the championship game. I mean, they're the top 2 offenses in the game right now. You got to put Yankees, Orioles 1, 2. I don't think there's any other options that you can have in the top 2 spots, not even the Twins. I think the Twins obviously have Spencer Bogat, who is a prolific power player, or an outstanding offensive player, if you will. And Chris Metter can have that time where he just goes off and he can do anything he wants with a wiffle ball bat. But his power numbers have trended downwards. He still gets on base plenty. And, you know, I think the whole Corey McCarthy took a little bit backwards of a step, but still a great player. But that 4th spot for them, that Edlow Will carousel, is that going to happen? Is Edlow going to have a great year after having 2 down years? Who knows? So I think you got to put the Twins next at number 3. But I think that there's a level of tiers coming down from the Yankees, Orioles, then to the Twins. But the Twins might be in their own tier, I believe. Oh man, after that, kind of get a little muddled. Feel like I'd put the White Sox next. I think the White Sox, maybe overall as a team, they have a little more offensive firepower than, say, last year's playoff team, the Marlins. Marlins could be next for me. Man, I'm gonna have to go through these again here. And then that brings me to what I got left: Astros, Athletics, Rockies, Expos. I think I'm gonna put the Rockies next. Excuse me. I'm gonna put the Rockies next at number 6. I think Blake has a bounce back year. I think Jason and Adam take a step forward. I think Brian Kenny can't get worse than last year. Let's be real. Oh my, that was not his best for sure. And then, so I'm gonna do the Rockies at number 6. Astros and Athletics are kind of a toss-up for me with 7 and 8, and then I'm going to Expos number 9. I think I'd maybe give a slight edge to the Astros just because they have Jimmy Stout had a great year. Cole Ayton came out of his shell last year, had a great year, and Cam's got to get better. And then, so I think I'd go Astros, Athletics, then Expos.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think across the board. I mean, I got a little back and forth on the Sox Marlins, but I think the Marlins have 2 of the best hitters in the league.
Yeah, they do.
But you know, the Sox have a better, well-rounded, I think, group of 4. Astros, Rockies, again, it's kind of balanced. I'd say, yeah, the Expos there at the end. And the offense, I think the way I'd tier the teams is about the same as the way I'd tier the offenses in general. So
yeah.
And let's round this category out with a question about opposites. So could you name a couple players that are opposites of each other, and, you know, playing ways, personal ways, physical ways, but together they're both, you know, top wiffle ball players, all-star award-winning caliber, but they get there kind of on opposite ways. Anybody come to mind for you?
I might be able to give you a couple. While they are similar in more ways than we could ever imagine on the outside, Scott and Kevin Pulley, I feel like, are very different on the inside. They are both excellent wiffle ball players, and they have so much potential when they come up to the plate every time. Their prowess at the plate, being that tall frame that they have, is always looming to pitchers, and any one of them can go off on a game and take control. But they are very different in personality. Kevin's a little more reserved, Scott's a little more outgoing, that introvert, extrovert kind of thing. They both can have their moments with the right people of being the opposite, but I think it's great that both of them are amazing individual people that people should get to know. Sometimes twins get kind of put together, but they're both amazing individual people in their own way. And I think making them somewhat opposites is what makes them great as people. But they are just amazing wiffle ball players in their own right. Speaking of twins, I'm going to put out Corey McCarthy and Spencer Bogad as well. Could not be more opposite in personality, it seems like. Obviously, same thing, introvert, extrovert. Spencer does a lot of talking, and Corey does very little. But they both are, obviously, two out of the past 3 years have been Corey and Spencer as MVP. So great for the Twins to have, for sure. They have 2 top 6 players from the top 21 countdown, and definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with as they bat second and third all year long for the Twins.
Yeah, I'm with you. I quickly go to the kind of the volume and the quiet, calm, and the loud,
sure,
flamboyant. Kind of like a Paul Castellano, and a quiet, in control kind of guy. And then he can pitch, he can hit home runs. And you got Jimmy Nelson, loud, he's there. He can pitch, he can hit home runs. That kind of thing is where I was going.
And tall, short.
And tall, short. That is right. And one is very, very good at frisbee golf, and Paul probably just doesn't play frisbee golf. He's probably not that good.
He might dabble, but who knows? Yeah.
He's an all-around athlete. All righty. Well, we're going to go into our last segment here, folks, where we're going to grab our 8 balls and our fortune-telling materials, and we're going to make some predictions here. I'm going to go kind of rapid fire to Sam here. Ask him for his prediction on each one, and I'll throw mine in there at the end as well. But this is what everybody wants to know. They want to put their bets into Vegas. They want to kind of see what 2 of the greatest wiffle ball minds in the league, quite frankly, are where we are. So let's go to everybody loves MVP. That's what it's all about. Who do you got, Sam, if you had to pick your MVP?
Wow. Man, it's tough. Yeah. Anybody can go off. Anybody can do well. Oh, I know. I think it's going to go back to Spencer Bogad this year. I think he's going to have a great year again. There's no way Gus does as well as he did last year. Let's be real. Nobody can. So we got to bring him down, fall from grace there, but I think Spencer Bogad will have another great season, and he will be our MVP this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say Gus, but I do think it'll change a bit, and I think that I'd love to say Sam or Brett, but I just think that it's they'll take it away. It'll be very split, and Spencer will potentially stand out there. So I'll go with you on Bo.
Oh,
yeah.
And
let's go to the Cy Wiffle. Speaking of Sam and Brett and Gus and whoever else, what do you think about the Cy Wiffy?
I think I'm gonna go with an Oriole. I think it's gonna be me or Brett this year. I don't think I think Jackson always will have a shot. Jimmy could put his name in the ring. Who knows if the offense can help him out? And Gus obviously will be there. But he's not going to go 7-1 again like he did last year. I had the best ERA last year. I think Brett and I control the radar gun pretty well. And so I'm going to go with an Oriole. I'm going to go with an O. And it's going to be either Brett Spencer or myself who's going to win Cy Wiffle this year.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. I think I got Gus at 3 or 4. I'd see Jackson sliding up there.
Yeah.
And I got Sam Brett 1 and 2, and I've got Sam 1. So I'll break the tie because I mean you got some strikeout power there, you got some speed command, and clearly you've got the knowledge and the acumen. That's
Just my
gonna
shoulder
be-
holds up. It's
Yeah.
been a little rough this offseason.
Yeah, so it's if you have one of those coveted pitchers, it really makes life pretty enjoyable, throughout the weekend.
It does for our team, yes. It makes it easy. And and it's always great to have you and PG in our back pockets because you guys are no slouches yourselves on the mound. So we appreciate you giving us that, the opportunity to be out on the mound. But I think the goal is to have you guys maybe step onto the mound a little bit more and save Brett and I for when it counts in the playoffs and, give you guys some work on the mound too.
Oh yeah, man, I'll get 20 innings, 25.
That's right.
Yep. Let's go Platinum Hands. I mean, we talked a little bit about Chris Metter. I mean, obviously Cole took it home last year.
Yeah.
BK fell down a little bit, but I think it was really just an error that did him in. I mean, are you picking for those 3, or are you searching from beyond?
Peter, I'm gonna go bold here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go bold, and I'm gonna say, I mean, you have those 3. I mean, if you think about it like a Twitter poll, it's probably going to be who wins Platinum Hands. It's going to be Cole Layton, Chris Metter, Ryan Kenny, or the field.
Right.
I'm taking the field this year.
Are you going Paul Castellano?
No.
Okay. I'm just curious. He's a field guy for me.
He is a field guy. He's there. And I think that he would get a lot of opportunities.
Are you going with the Marlins?
Maybe.
You're going with Luke Acula?
Might be, and I said I'm going with the field. Could be Luke,
Oh,
could be
true.
Paul, could be you, could be me,
Sure.
could be anybody that has an opportunity. I just think it's going to be the field, and it's fun.
All right.
It was fun to have Cole Layton, take this award from Chris and Brian, who have won it for the past decade. Like getting in somebody new like that, it's fun. So I'm excited to see the fielding levels going up. So I'm taking the field.
Yeah, and I think last year, I mean, between Chris and Cole, it was really just a matter of 9 or 10 total chances more that Cole had, and so I mean,
I think you gotta also think like Ty Butler's gonna break through one of these times too. Like he's constantly been number 2, number 3 in voting the past 5 or 6 years. So you got to add his name into that. So that's why between Paul, Luke, Ty, yourself, I feel like there's so many good fielders that deserve that recognition, and it just literally comes down to how the ball bounces, Peter.
and if you really look into it, it's about the pitching and who's going to get those ground balls, who's going to keep it in the ballpark. That'll be a good battle this year for sure.
It will be.
The viewers, myself, Sam, you are always the rookie of the year. The rookies, who's coming and going. We may not have a lot, but what do you see on rookie of the year?
I'll be bold. I think that bold again, maybe not quite bold, but I don't think we are going to award this award this year. I think that we may have some rookies. Yeah, rest in peace. 20 years or 19 years straight of doing a Rookie of the Year award. And every year we always say, what's the year that's going to happen where we don't give this award out? And everyone thought possibly last year. But with Grant Boyd going out, it gave the opportunity for Adam and Jason to get a lot of meaningful at-bats. And that's what we always say. We will give this award if the rookie has meaningful at-bats. And I'm not sure we're going to get that. Or not just at-bats, but playing time, excuse me. But I'm not sure if we're going to get that this year. I think there are a bunch of rumors out there. And obviously the draft, I'm in charge of the draft. But I think I can say this now. But I think Sam Eichenlob is going to be drafted by the Expos, who was drafted by the Expos, and I think he is going to be more of a pitcher though, and minimal at bats is what I heard. So if he's going to be that pitcher and he can make an impact as a pitcher on that team, then yeah, he could be given the award. If he meets the 3-game minimum and they're impactful games and innings. But I would hate to turn a Rookie of the Year away, but if he has no competition, he's got to earn it. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I mean, those comments, I feel like, I think when you mentioned Grant Boyd, I think about comeback player of the year. which we have maybe, it's really just Grant. You got Steffi's, you got Trent coming back.
Trent's coming back, yeah.
Josh Rogers played, but he didn't pitch. He just hit a little bit. He played with half his arm or something.
He could be a comeback player, yeah, for sure.
Maybe we think about those groups together, but no, interesting to see the Expos making a move for the mound. What does that say? They're still going to fit Jeremy Worrell in there a little bit. Is he going to be focusing on just brushing the ball out of the park?
And I mean, they know that Sam's probably their best hitter instantly. Like, he played in Summer League. He did a really great job. His team, the Pesky Pine Trees, they won Summer League last year. So, I mean, Sam Eichenlaub might be their best hitter, and they can utilize him, but will they is the question. And I think he's more being signed on as a pitcher to help with pitching depth, helping Jimmy and Jeremy out. But, they could utilize him. And there are some great rookies that still could get picked up if after the draft. Ryan Brown, Ryan O'Rear could make immediate impacts on a team. I know they're scheduled to come. There's a couple rookies from Chicago, Ronnie Zadarsky and Keith Liska. Great guys that we love seeing at the NCAA tournament that could make an impact. And then some returners, like you said, Chris Newman's still looking for a roster. You could have Newman as a comeback player as well, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking Sam Eichenlaub might be our only rookie drafted, and it's going to be up to him on his opportunities if he can earn that award.
Maybe we should have a draft party at 1356 or 15. You're going to have to correct me on the numbers, Sam.
You got it. 1356. You had it.
Ah, yes. Well, maybe we have a draft party there, and we're all there, and then he gets drafted, and then we go crazy, and then it's over. And then we're all there.
We should do it right outside the door.
There you go. All right, Sam, let's go to the award that really matters, the franchise of the year. Who do you got? I mean, there's always a little battle there from a few teams, but where are you at on that one?
I think, obviously the two of us, we won it this year, and there's been a lot of talk in the front office about, what we're looking for the franchise of the year. Like, should we tell people like this is kind of what comes into consideration? Obviously being present and around is important for the weekend. The Orioles do a great job at that, but there are a lot of other teams that do that well too. I think you could see this year being one of the years that maybe one of these top performing teams possibly wins franchise of the year, like a Twins or a Yankees or an Orioles, perennial playoff teams, supposedly. Astros could make a push again, possibly, and the Athletics, I think, really want to as well. Athletics are going to be doing Game 1, and they signed on for that, so that's a big push in their favor. Rockies as well doing Game 1. They always stick around. Great guys with Grant Boyd and Brian Kenny, always around to help. Jason and Adam add a nice, trash talk from Jason mentality. So you can see the Rockies in there. So there's always teams you can make a case for anybody. And we didn't even mention the Expos, who are also a great candidate as well. And the White Sox, from what I've heard, signing Trent Steffes and getting new jerseys, like every team I just listed. So it could be anybody. I think doing this podcast and doing some off-season stuff, I think the Orioles are going to be the favorite to enter the season, but will it play out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the O's. I mean, we have inside information and just a lot of knowledge about what we plan to do. And I think, O's, Marlins, Expos kind of jumped at the top. This might be the first year where I feel like you can't really cross out anybody that's not in contention. I mean, I think in the past, teams just really didn't care about it, and we knew they weren't going to be considered. But people start to care a little bit more, it seems. So it'll be an exciting one for sure.
I think it's going to be one of the closest franchise of the year races we've had. And I think the front office and our voters are going to have to keep their eyes out all weekend long so we can make an informed decision.
That is true. And let's round it out here with, I think we could probably assume who we think is going to win each division. So let's jump to the wild card. Last year was Sox Marlins, with the Marlins winning that game. How do you see that game being different this year, Sam?
Ooh, so are we assuming it's the same 5?
Well, for me, I'm probably going to assume it's the same 5. I mean, it could clearly be a top tier 1 team falling into the wild card. For me, I think it's going to repeat. I think it's going to be Sox Marlins again, but I think the Sox are going to win that game.
Ooh.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh man, I think, what do we have? We have Yankees, Marlins, Expos, correct, as a division.
Mm-hmm.
But that Rockies, White Sox, Twins division is so interesting. And do I think that all three teams in the division will ever make it to the playoffs? Probably not. It's going to take a lot. But if the Rockies can turn it around, what a story, right? What a story it would be if the Rockies turned around their season and Rockies, White Sox, and Twins all make the playoffs, and the Marlins miss the playoffs and don't have that opportunity. It's an interesting prospect, especially if the Marlins, lose both to the Yankees and maybe the Expos steal one from them. Like, you could possibly see the Marlins not making it again and taking a step back. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I mean, I think that it's tough for a division to get all three. And you can't count out the Astros, the Athletics. One of them can make a push and randomly all of a sudden make a wild card. But for now, I'll probably stick with the same five. And but I even think that White Sox-Rockies matchup is going to be really important for both those games.
Yep. No, I agree.
But who wins? Maybe you're right. Maybe the White Sox take it home. Jackson Crosley on the mound. They have the pitching. They have the hitting. You kind of have to side with them on all of that. Even the fielding. Like, you kind of have to side with the White Sox on paper on all three facets against the Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one team that I would say didn't play up to their par last year, it's definitely the Sox. And I mean, going into last year, I was like, man, this is a sexy team. And then, like, how can they possibly get any sexier? And then they signed Trent, and I'm like, oh my god,
he's gonna keep him loose. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna keep him loose. Trent's gonna keep him loose. Trent's gonna be that hype guy. Trent's gonna get some innings on the mound. He's a lefty, and he's gonna just be the guy that's talking to all the teams. He's gonna make people fall in love with the Sox again.
Yeah, well, the video, the clip that was posted when he signed, he was crushed a homer to right center, and maybe you whiff or somewhere. That was a nice video. He had a the bat flip, the swag, that yeah, I like that.
He's gonna bring it for sure. He's excited to be back. He's been texting me all the time, and he feels really honored that a team gave him a chance, and he's been wanting to come back ever since COVID. So
I think that puts John Callaway climbing up the Manager of the Year award for that act alone. Well, Sam, it's getting late. We'll have to wind down here soon.
Yes.
One of our kids probably due to wake up in the next hour. So let's go to the final word. And this is an O-face that you don't want to make. Like, this is actually Jimmy Nelson last year at the end of the season when he looked at the standings and saw their record.
9-game losing streak. Yeah.
It's so. We don't want to end with this kind of negativity, but let's take it around the horn. I mean, what would you say is your final thought? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to with this podcast? What's going on in the Commish's head?
Peter, our wiffle ball league has finally come of age. It is now eligible to drink. 21 years old. It's amazing.
Oh, wow, that's true.
We have produced a wiffle ball league that is now old enough to drink.
So I think game one, opening ceremony, you just have a wiffle ball and you just pour a beer like into the wiffle ball holes, and it's like a shotgun.
We are gonna do another. We did a toast for season 20, but I think we're gonna do a fun toast for season 21. Honoring the league also coming of age and turning 21. And so it's a cool testament to our league continuing to find different ways to celebrate, but just another thing there. But I'm excited for season 21, and every year we keep saying it's going to be the most competitive year, and this year it's going to prove it again. The best part about this league is you cannot predict it. It's not scripted like the NFL, Peter. It's not scripted. I mean, you cannot script the SWBL season.
Nope, not scripted like the WWE.
Nope.
And it's all natural. It's anything can happen. It's kind of like the XFL. You're down by 9. Hey, you still got a chance.
Yeah, got a lot of chances. Yep. Battlehawks.
Caw. Let's go. Well,
but I'm excited for this podcast, Peter. Thank you for doing it. I think it's going to be great segments. Talking to the Orioles each time, and kind of help our fans get to know us. Our only fans get to know us.
That's right. And we'll be back. I'd say when this drops, within a week or so, we'll be back with episode 2. We're gonna have Brett Spencer with us. Possibly, arguably, the MVP from the team last year. We're gonna dissect his performance, his relationships with the Rockies, the Expos, and his expectations for year 2, and then the future of Brett.
Yes, future of Brett is a good one.
It is. Well, Sam, thanks for joining. I'm excited to get this kicked off, and we've got a lot of good stuff to come. So hope you have a good evening, and hope all the listeners and viewers out there enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, send it to Sam. Text him. He 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. is his best time.
Best time. Edlo will tell you that.
Yes, and we didn't even mention Edlo at all in the whole podcast.
Kind of mentioned the Edlo Will carousel.
Yeah, we did. The carousel. Well, he'll be up all night too with those twins. So.
Well, Peter, thank you so much to all the listeners. Orioles should be your team that you should root for.
Yep, I'm with you.
Because
have a good one.